bouncer over Weston's head. Here comes Bill Ripken, a great play. Got him! And this is hit deep to left. Jones is back, looks up, kiss it goodbye. The infield is in with a runner at third and one out. Bouncer to first. Cal Ripken's going to try to score. Kittle's throw, and he's saved.
Who slimed your car?
You want to wash it?
Get real.
I'll take you to Hardee's for a hot, tender, juicy, awesome roast beef sandwich.
Watch this. 3, and you got a deal.
3? Okay, deal.
Guys, lunch is served. Yes! How about some fries, bro? Yes!
It's a long walk home, Jeff.
Now you can get a regular roast beef and crispy curls for just $1.99 at Hardee's. Is that hot or what?
This graph shows that your car can drive better with Texaco's System 3 gasoline. In the BMW test, ordinary gasoline built up valve deposits, but System 3 actually took them away. Tank after tank, valves got cleaner and cleaner. As for performance, after 5 tanks, it gets even better.
A view of the Treasury Department in downtown Washington, D.C., and a view of the Stanley Cup as the road to the Stanley Cup continues here on Home Team Sports tonight. Washington Capitals facing elimination tonight. See the Boston Bruins score the only 2 goals of the first 20 minutes. They lead 2-0. Jeff Rimmer back here in our Home Team Sports studios. A pleasure to welcome the Capitals Director of Player Recruitment and Development, Mr. Jack Button. And Jack, your impressions of that first 20 minutes. Were the Capitals that bad, or we have to give the Boston Bruins a lot of credit for their effort tonight?
Well, I think we have to give the Boston Bruins a lot of credit for the way they played throughout the series. I'm certainly not pleased with the result of the first period. The first goal was a little bit of a fluky goal, hit his goal pad rebound. The second goal, good play on the part of the Bruins, working that power play down low and then giving it to Neely. He doesn't miss too often when he gets a chance from there.
301-499-6600. Any questions or comments for the Capitals? Jack Button, please give us a call. 301-499-6600. Jack, the Washington Capitals facing elimination here tonight. The team certainly is focused only on tonight's hockey game, but you got to look at the other side of the ice and the Boston Bruins tonight. They're focused too. They know what happened against Montreal, and I think they're determined tonight not to allow the Capitals off the hook as they did Montreal in avoiding a series sweep.
Well, the fourth game of the series, to win a best of 7, which is to win the fourth game, is always the most difficult. I don't think that you can fault the effort of our team at all. There have been 2 breaks, and Boston are making their own breaks, so we have to give them credit. You know, they were the #1 team in the league overall, so that's where it starts. They were the best defensive team in the league, so it's no surprise that maybe ourselves or whoever plays against the Boston Bruins are going to struggle to score goals. I know the coaching staff spent a lot of time trying to generate a little more offense, plays at the net. I know Terry told you that before the game. We're at the stage now where it's you have to win the next period. And that's all we can worry about is the second period of this game and then take it from there. So our immediate objective is to win the second period.
All right, let's head to Portsmouth, Virginia for our first call for Jack. And Bruce, you're on Home Team Sports, and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Rimmer, Mr.
Yes,
Button. We have the Hampton Roads Admirals down here in Portsmouth, and we were wondering, we received some support for this past year from David Buckley and Ole Merlone, and we're looking forward to maybe getting players next year. Can you give us any input on players we might receive?
Jack's the right guy to ask.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the people of the Hampton Roads area for the way they supported that team. I'd like to congratulate Blake Cullen and John Brophy for the way they built that team, an expansion team. And yes, we had a meeting during the New Jersey series with both Brof and Mr. Cullen, and we're looking to support the Hampton Road Admirals next year. I can't right now say how many players that we may be in a position to place there, but certainly there's going to be some.
John from Laurel, you're on Home Team Sports with Jack Button, and welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Mr. Button, besides the draft, I was wondering if you might pull a trade to pull in a good defenseman.
Well, you know, it's always difficult to make trades to begin with, and then you say to get a good defenseman. Actually, I think our defense is probably one of the better defense in the National Hockey League. And we've got some young players starting to come now. On top of that, We just signed another player out of the University of Wisconsin, a free agent by the name of Rob Mendel yesterday. Wisconsin won the NCAA championship, the Division I championship, hockey championship in the United States this past year. He was a defenseman on that team, an instrumental part of their win. We've got our eye on another free agent defenseman along the same mold, and time will tell if we're going to be able to sign him. It's not easy to make a trade for a top-notch defenseman. I don't really think that we really have to. You know, in this series, though, without making excuses, and I don't want to make excuses, Kevin Hatcher got hurt in that last game in New York. Certainly his absence from the lineup has hurt us. It's hurt us rushing the puck or getting the puck out of our own end. It's hurt us because Kevin he puts points on the board, there's no question, but also he generates some offense, and he would have been a real thorn in the side of the Boston Bruins. So I'm not really too concerned about our defense. I think we've got a strong defense, and I think we've got a defense that's going to bode well for a long time to come.
Craig from Hyattsville, welcome.
It seems as if the Capitals are making excuses for, not playing as well as they did against the Rangers and the Devils.
Who's making excuses?
Excuse me?
Who is making excuses?
Just in the paper, changing the lines and the goalies. You should just stick to one goalie so we'll get the playoff field and everything, and we'll start playing better. Because
nobody's making excuses. Now, I think you got it all wrong. Well, we haven't made an excuse yet. What we've said is that we're up against the best team in the National Hockey League. We've got some injuries. Nobody has talked about that, and I just referred to that when I was talking about the absence of Kevin Hatcher. The coaches, Terry Murray and Robbie Laird, are doing everything they can to try to generate a win. That's what we have to do first. The coaches have never said that they're not making any excuses. They're not crying. Nobody is crying. We give all the credit in the world to the Boston Bruins, but there has never been an excuse from anybody on the Washington Capitals side, and there won't be. We've had an excellent season, and if we don't win this series, give all the credit to the Boston Bruins. They were the better team.
Len from New Carrollton, you're on Home Team Sports. The outspoken Jack Button with us tonight, and welcome, Len.
I just want to talk a little bit about Dale Hunter. I certainly think he's been great, and I love the hard hits he gets, but just occasionally it seems that he will get that stick up in the face and gets the elbows up a little high. What do you think about the retaliation that he gets for that?
Well, I don't think there's any kind of retaliation. There's a lot of respect for Dale Hunter. We talked to Don Cherry in the pregame show, and I don't think there's any question, despite what Mike Milbury says, he'd love to have the Dale Hunter in his lineup. And as Don Cherry says, Dale Hunter was made to wear that Bruins uniform. Fortunately for the Washington Capitals and the fans in this area, he plays for the Caps.
No question about it. And Dale Hunter, if we could get more players like Dale Hunter, if all the young players out there, and I'm not talking, sure, Dale Hunter gets a stick up and he incurs some penalties. The whole Hunter family have played that way. They played tough hockey. They played clean hockey. Sure, there's been some skirmishes, but the one thing that the Hunter family and Dale in particular have done is that they've always come to the rink every night and given everything they've had, and they play to win.
Is there another Dale Hunter in the draft this year, Jack?
Well, we've got a couple guys right in Baltimore that have the same characteristics. That's what we're looking for in the draft more than anything else. So the competitive spirit. You know, the Bruins have got some of these guys, right, character players. We'll take the skill player, but, you know, you get that early in the draft. After that, character players, competitive players, whatever adjective you care to use, Jeff, that's what everybody is looking for.
All right, Jack, next time you join us, don't try to be so low-key, will you?
No, I'm fine, and I think this is great, and it's always a pleasure being with you, my buddy, Jeff Remmer.
All right, Jack Button joining us. We've got more of our first intermission ahead. Stay tuned. The Washington Capitals trail by 2.
Oh, the gourmet salads are wonderful. They're really bright and colorful. Makes you hungry.
The fresh gourmet salads are made every day, right here in our deli.
Tomato basil is one of my favorites. Big chunks of tomatoes with yellow peppers. I like the Hawaiian chicken. It's got coconut and pineapple and nuts. And the customer walks up to the counter and looks at these salads, and they just, see the difference that
Chocolate. Nature promises the taste of rich, tempting chocolate. Breyers keeps nature's promise with real chocolate. Breyers starts with nothing artificial. Just fresh milk, real cream, and luscious chocolate. So nothing gets in the way of that rich chocolate taste. Breyers ice cream, or Breyers Light with 1/3 less butter fat than ice cream. We keep nature's promise.
I noticed a great number of returns these rejects on an altimeter that we are getting from a supplier. So I scheduled a trip to California to talk with the supplier, and I asked him how he would feel if we reset it here, and he was delighted. It certainly wasn't just an isolated thing of wanting to reset the altimeter here, but resetting time saved us a valuable 2.5 months.
People with the power to do a better job build a better product. McDonnell Douglas, a company of leaders.
Think of the glass on the left as a new 1990 Honda Accord LX. Now think of the glass on the right as a new 1990 Toyota Camry LE. Interesting. The Camry offers more and costs less. If you're looking for the best value, the choice is obvious. Toyota Camry. More car for less money. See your Toyota dealer. We deliver value today and tomorrow.
Washington Capitals game coverage on Home Team Sports is brought to you by Safeway. Come see the difference at Safeway. Well, the Boston Bruins have a 2-0 lead over the Washington Capitals. We've completed one period of play here in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship at the Capitol Center. We hope you're enjoying tonight's action here on Home Team Sports. Mike Fornes with Al Koken. We probably enjoy a little more if we get the Caps a couple of goals. Bruins are just painting the same sort of a picture that they have in previous games. A one-goal lead, that's nothing, you think, and then pretty soon 2 periods are gone. They're up by another one. They've got a 2-0 lead. It didn't take them long to get started in that first period, did it?
No, you know, the Caps have made a few too many turnovers, and the Bruins, because they've got so much more speed than they used to have, are really taking advantage of those turnovers. Great counterattacking, and their power play, even though it has not been dominating, it still is enough to just chip away at things. And when you got a big guy like Cam Neely, he can always be a factor.
Let's take a look right now at the shot chart for the first period. And here's Washington with 5 shots on goal. They didn't score any. Everything coming from the left side.
One good deflection by Alan May in front, but again, notoriously absent from that shot chart. The numbers 14, and the numbers 17, the numbers 20. Pavanka, Ridley, Courtnall, these are the guys who were so important for the Capitals offensively in the regular season. They just really haven't done the job so far.
For quite a while, the Caps were not even on the shot clock, and Boston was. Let's take a look now at their shot chart, and we can show you their progress during the period with 9 shots on goal and 2 scoring plays.
Well, you know, you've got a situation where the Boston Bruins that we talked about, you know, early on in the game with a lot of forcing of turnovers and a lot of aggressive play. And what happens here, Rod Langway's got the puck, and you see how the Bruins have started to try to take this half of the ice away. So what Langway's trying to do is get it back to his partner, Neil Shee, and start reversing things to come up this way. But Carpenter's speed makes that move in there to pick it off, and then watch John Carter just go to the front of the net. Langway backs up, you know, skating backwards, forward, so he doesn't have a lot of momentum on his pass. Now stop it right here. You see what happens. She's got to go down and chase, and Carter's got free territory to come in. That centering pass is going to come through, and what Mike Liu does is just try and clear it out this way, but that's where the body of John Carter is, and it bangs off Carter and into the net. Carpenter tries to center it. It's stopped before it gets there, but when Mike Liu clears it away, it goes right on to Carter and gets by him on that far side, and just 52 seconds into the game, the Bruins had the all-important first goal. Then the Bruins come back in the power play. Now the Caps are in their box a little bit here, but watch what happens when Scott Stevens leaves to go chase Craig Janney. The 2 penalty-killing forwards are looking this way, Bork back here, and here's Greg Hallgood. He recognizes nobody's in on him, so watch as Hallgood starts to come down this way. You got to respect a guy like Craig Janney, and that's obvious. Now stop it here. Hallgood, anticipating a puck coming back here, has already made the move down here. And look at the way Cam Neely has gone from this spot to just walk over into this slot territory right here. Let the play continue. Hallgood will come chasing down the puck. Now stop it again. You see how Neely's kind of swung and then come back this way, gotten away from Berglund, and he is in perfect spot in front. She's going to chase but get tied up a little bit with Prop, so Hallgood just comes in, fires that pass out here, and Mike Liu, when he comes over, has got no chance on it. He's anticipating a possible wraparound, and instead that quick pass, Neely has gotten away from Berglund, and bang, on the power play, the Bruins make it 2-0.
Okay, both teams are out on the ice ready to go for the second period. Here's Jeff Rimmer. Thanks, Mike. You know, Jack Button's right on the money when he says give the Bruins a lot of credit for their effort tonight. They're a determined hockey club. And I talked to some of the Bruin players before the game. Guess how they spent the off day yesterday? Yes, they practiced here at the Capitol Center, but they were also forced to watch Game 4 of the previous series between the Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. The night that the Bruins were looking for a 4-game series sweep, Montreal came back and won that hockey game, and Coach Mike Milbury wanted to make sure his team came through with a 4-game series sweep, so he wanted to remind him about Game 4 in the previous series. Teams are on the ice. We're set to go. Let's rejoin Mike and Al.
Well, it certainly looks like the Bruins have learned that lesson. I know in yesterday's practice, Andy Moe got there and didn't have any of the goaltending equipment on, just a regular stick and shooting the puck around, having some fun. And why not? It's an obviously loose and relaxed team playing with great confidence and skill.
Not a bad left winger either, Andy Moe. Throws it in behind the Washington net, and here we go with period number 2. The Caps quickly clear it down back into Boston ice, and Wesley is there. Moe plays it to Wesley, and Wesley is ready to start out. Up the center. Pass over to Bork. Dumps it on into the Washington zone. Rouse in to throw ahead and levels the Bruins' Randy Burridge. Stevens chasing Bork back to the line. Here's Ray Bork. Long lead pass to Christian. Cutting in, but he's offside.
David Christian settling in the Boston area, but still is trying to get rid of his house here in Washington. Wife Lisa and the children up in Boston. Still has a home in Springfield, Virginia that he's trying to get rid of. So
why don't you give the address? Maybe you can get a commission.
That's right. Send all inquiries.
Remember Pete Peters many years ago had just gotten rid of a house in Boston and sold it to another player, sold it to another Bruins player. Then moved on in his career and found out what the rate that value of that home had gone to in something like a year and a half, and for all the time that Peters was there, it had been nothing like that. The money was made as soon as Pete got out of the house.
That's right. Well, if you can believe the Boston real estate market, probably even crazier and more expensive than the Washington real estate market, which is among the highest in the country.
Here's Hunter trying to center the puck, but it's taken away by Carpenter. He leads it off the right wing boards for Bob Gould. Now up to Carpenter. Gets across the line, drop pass. Galley a high shot. That's missing the Washington net. And back comes the Capitals' John Druce, tied up by Carpenter, and again dumped into the Washington zone. Just underway with the second period. The Bruins leading 2-0 over the Caps. In the corner is Courtnall. Taken out by Gould on the right wing. Gets into the Washington zone and fires wide of the goal. There's Sheehy over after it. Kent Painter goes in. Throws a hit in the corner. Bumping Gould off the puck. Dale Hunter. Brings it out to center ice. Back inside the line and into Boston ice. And here's Bork to clear it. Bob Rouse back to take it. For the Capitals. Left side to Scott Stevens. Moves it out to center. Bork puts it right back to the Washington zone. The Capitals were shut out in Boston in Game 2 by a 3-0 score. Right now they trail the Bruins 2-0. Here's Ridley across the line. Played ahead on the left wing. Here comes a 2-on-1. Neely on the right. Waits for the puck. Stevens is there to steal. Scott Stevens, a good play to break up that 2-on-1. Clears it back to center ice. Now Peterson drives it on into the Capital zone. Stevens back towards the pass over to Bob Rouse. Up to Kelly Miller from Leach and taken over by Beers. Bob Beers of the Bruins. Drives it into the corner. Here's Leach for Washington. Off the backboards. Back to the point for Beers. Right in front for Poulin. Taken away by Stevens. And Stevens leads it to Leach. Stolen puck. Here's Burridge coming back. Held up on the play by Stevens and chased to the corner. Now it's right in front of the net. And Wesley over into the corner. Bumped by Steve Leach on the play. Back comes Kelly Miller. Here's Miller across the line to Pavanka. and he's held up by Burridge. Wesley to the corner after. Moves it to Burridge. Now out to center ice for Dave Christian. Rod Langway takes over for Washington. Into the skates of Alan May. Or rather of Steve Malte, and Malte finally clears it on down. Wesley's back to get it. Big hit by Berglund. And boy, he's been throwing some hits in this series. Here's a steal, a shot, saved by Moe, rebound, covered, and finally cleared back to the corner. The Bruins thought a penalty should have been called there. Here's Beers. Hook on the play by Berglund. Now there will be a penalty. And the player who was arguing about the lack of penalty calls winds up being injured here as Tim Berglund lifts his stick underneath the leg of Bob Beers and sends him flying in the air. He's lying on the ice now and looks like he could have a pretty serious knee injury as trainer Jim Nerrigan comes out to have a look at him, and that is exactly what he's holding, is that right knee.
Well, take one more look at it. You see Tim Berglund right there. Looks like he lowers the hip and he catches him with a bit of the knee. This is so different from what Chris King did to Kevin Hatcher. Looks like to me, Mike, Tim Berglund simply had the good position, but he had his leg out as well. He didn't stick the leg out to go after him. He had assumed position already, and there's knee-to-knee contact, but it didn't look like Tim Berglund stuck out the knee to initiate that contact.
You're right. This was not a trip, which was the case with the King plays. This was a check, and the check just happened to be leveled right on that knee, and when you've got it planted, something has to give.
Take one more look at it. You know, Berglund is set already. Bob Beers is the one making the move, and Tim Berglund is not sticking out that leg to respond to the move. He had his leg there. No question it's a collision. No question it's a possible serious injury. But this is so much different than the one cheap shot that Chris King threw at Kevin Hatcher that has gotten him out of the series.
How ironic that Beers had just voiced all kinds of displeasure to referee Dennis Morrell about the lack of some calls in front of the net, and no more did he finish his speech to the referee. He turns to head up ice, and boom, he is injured on a play that will see Berglund take a penalty.
There are two things you can say about Tim Berglund. He right now probably is the heaviest hitter of all of the Capital forwards, and the other thing that's very important to remember at this juncture right now, he is also, as far as I'm concerned, the cleanest. Always lowering the shoulder, always taking the good clean hits. You see the angle of it right there. He's got his legs locked and planted. He doesn't stick the leg out to grab Beers, but it certainly does look like there's a serious injury. Look where Berglund's position is. That is not a cheap shot, but it certainly is a very unfortunate injury right now for a young player who's been playing some terrific hockey throughout the playoffs for the Boston Bruins in Bob Beers.
They're putting him on a stretcher now as assistant trainer Don Warden comes out to help out Jim Nerrigan, and they will lift Bob Beers, and no doubt he will go right to the hospital for an examination of that knee, which, as we've seen many times, you know, we lack any medical knowledge, but on that type of a play, when you see a guy react like that, you know, boom, there's some, if you're down there on the ice, you probably could have heard it snap. Some years ago, it was Capital fans that were watching Bengt Gustafsson being led off in similar fashion, and the crowd gives him a nice hand here as Beers is taken off the ice. Now I wonder, will the Bruins interpret that the way we were able to see it on the replays? Were they able to watch that on Telscreen, or will we see somebody go after Tim Berglund?
Right now, the Bruins, you know, I don't get any, watching their bench and watching some of their action, I don't see them trying to get the attention of Morrell, looking for something more. Hopefully they did see it that way, and if anything, what they have seen out of Tim Berglund so far in this series should also tell them that this is a kid who plays the game hard but clean.
A 2-minute minor penalty has been put up on the penalty time clock for Tim Berglund. I did not hear that announced, or did not hear what was announced, but I'm going to think that Morrell probably called a tripping call.
But the last time the Bruins had the power play, it clicked with Cam Neely getting his 11th of the playoffs at 18:42 of period number 1. Neely out there again with Propp and Janney. Wesley and Bork working the points for the Boston Bruins. Ridley, Miller, Bob Rouse, and Rod Langway killing off this penalty to start for the Washington Caps.
It is a tripping call to Berglund, and here come the Bruins on the power play. Puck thrown into the corner over the glass and out of play.
You know, one of the things that Cam Neely has talked about, not only the fact that he has gotten himself away from taking these penalties that we had talked about and has spent more time on the ice, but he gives a lot of credit to his goalies, Moog and particularly Reggie Lemelin, for telling him, go ahead and shoot high at us in practice. Now, that's something no goaltender ever tells. I can remember Pat Riggin getting into a fight with Mike Gartner because Gartner shot high at him once in practice, but Cam Neely will tell you one of the ways he has developed his shot and his overall game is because these goaltenders have said it's okay to do it. And Neely has scored a few goals. The last goal he scored, certainly low right along the ice, but he's had a number of top-shelf goals this season out of the 55. And he gives a lot of credit to the nice gesture by Andy Moog and Reggie Lemelin.
A minute 10 left on the Boston power play. Wesley in the corner, and it's cleared there by Rouse back to the point. Now over to Ray Bork. Bork brings it back, centering pass, Propp firing, save to Liu. And Bob Rouse leveled Janney right in front of the goal. Here's Propp, dropping it back to Ray Bork. 45 seconds until Berglund comes out of the box, and Wesley has to chase it back into the corner. Wesley stick handling to his own line, now comes to center ice. Burridge. Stolen by Murray, and Murray is sent flying through the air by Bork. A race for the puck. Into the corner goes Druce. He's tied up by Burridge. And Murray plays it to the point. Now Stevens a slap shot. Save made by Andy Moog. Caps shorthanded, but they have the pressure on here in the Bruins zone. Now Burridge starts back. Right side Christian. 10 seconds left in the power play. Wrist shot blocked by Scott Stevens. He has had some excellent blocks in this series in particular. And now here's a save by Liut to stop play. Only 2 seconds left in the Berglund penalty call.
Well, Stevens is having a terrific game, playing very inspired hockey, helping Mike Liut out quite a bit with that last block to go along with a number of them in this contest already. Mike Liut earlier, though, a great stop on Propp. As you see the play develop, and watch how Mike Liut just crosses his way through that crease. That's vintage Mike Liut. Good reaction, reading the play as well. You talk about forwards, how they the ability of players that skate to read the play. Mike Liut certainly does that as well. Kelly Miller heading off pretty quickly under his own steam. Doug Shear, the equipment manager, back there. So apparently there's just going to be some equipment repair to Kelly Miller. Just 2 seconds left to go in the Berglund penalty. Face-off down on the Capitals end. Hunter to take this draw against Poulin and wins it.
At the point, here's a slap shot by Galley off the skate of Burridge and taken by Courtnall. Capitals at full strength as Berglund rejoins them on the ice. He dumps it in. And then played by Galley back out to center. Scott Stevens ahead for Dale Hunter. Passes ahead to Berglund. Can't get the shot underway, and it's cleared out of the zone. Now Scott Stevens. Left side pass for Courtnall. Poulin intercepts. Played back to center ice. Here's Bob Rouse in to get it. Over to Scott Stevens. Stevens left side with Courtnall. Wrist shot wide of the goal. Back to the point. Kept in by Alan May. Moog blocks it behind the net. Here is Galley to lead it ahead to center. Now Stevens off the sideboard. Bob Gould takes it free. Works in on the right wing. Gould in behind the net. Throws it back of the goal, and Carter is there to get it. John Carter waltzing in, hooked on the play, no call. Into the corner goes Pavanka, and he works it loose over to Johansson. Puck played to center ice. Here's Courtnall a break. In 2-on-1 with Pavanka. A shot, and Courtnall couldn't put it on the net. And it's played off the boards all the way back inside the Washington zone. And now Johansson brings it ahead. Pavanka again on the rush. He's got Malte with him. And Alan May. And the pass to Malte goes off his stick. Back into the corner. Played by Bork. Bork jams up on the play, and it's cleared on the right wing to the point. Painter keeps it in. But as he bangs into the boards, the puck is cleared over the glass and into the seats. Capitals cannot get it past Andy Moog, and they trail the Bruins 2-0.
Right now at Jiffy Lube, you'll get great service and great savings with the Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book. It's filled with coupons that can save you over $80 on helpful car care products. And it's yours free with any oil change using the world-class protection of quality Pennzoil. So come by a participating Jiffy Lube today. Get a fast, professional oil change with quality Pennzoil and your free Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book.
Tuesday is Ladies' Day at Jiffy Lube. Come by for a 14-point service and a special surprise just for the ladies.
Well, Jeff Courtnall, after Greg Hallgood slipped, coming down in his favorite spot, right wing side with that left-handed shot. Usually tries to go far side, and he does. This time, he doesn't put it on the net, misses. We've seen Jeff Courtnall, since he's been here with the Washington Capitals, score a ton of goals down that right wing side, shooting far side on goaltenders.
The Caps could use one now. They trail the Bruins 2-0. Rob Murray is on the ice with Nick Kypreos and Alan May. The Boston line has Carpenter, Gould, and Carter. Painter back with Johansson. Bork for Boston with Wesley. Painter drives it in. Now here's Bork clearing it up the corner boards. Right wing side for Bobby Gould, and it gets past him to center ice. Painter takes him out. Gould's trying to work free. Feeds it to Bork. Across the line to Carter. Winds up, slap shot wide of the Washington goal. Into the corner, a hard hit. Played out to center ice, and May reaches for it, but can't get to it. Raymond Bork takes over again for the Bruins. Bork down the left wing board. Into Carter in the corner. Lead with it behind the goal. Plays the puck to Painter. Now out to center ice for Kypreos. Here's Kypreos, a high shot, put that way up off the glass. And now Don Sweeney sends the puck to center ice. May delivers a shot to Sweeney inside the blue line. Kypreos starting back with Ridley. Ridley across the line with Steve Leach. Here's Ridley walking in, centers it. A shot on goal, and Moog makes the save. Cleared back to the point for Neil Sheehy. Sheehy winds, he fires. It's deflected. And the Bruins come back again. Neely to center. Dumps it all the way down back into the Washington zone. And Langway is there to get it. Icing is the call against the Boston Bruins with 11-12 to go in the second period. And the Bruins on top, 2-0.
So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune?
If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy-biddy-boom. If I were a wealthy man, hey, I wouldn't have to work hard. All day long I'd biddy-biddy-boom. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard.
Mike, the Capital chances so few and far between when they do get shots. You again see how many Bruins are back there. Craig Genevieve only went out. Look at count all four of the other skaters for the Boston Bruins congregated in that slot area, and that Neil Sheehy shot never gets through Andy Moog. That is something the Bruins have done so well this entire series. Besides, you've got those guys counterattacking nicely, but when the Capitals gain that zone, almost everybody just sucked right back into that slot area, and it's almost impossible to get second chances if you can even get that first shot through.
Certainly the story in the Boston Garden, where the Bruins really were impressive with the way they were able to clog that area up. In fact, some of the best shots the Capitals had in Game 2 when they were shut out 3-0 never made it to the goal because of that effective play in front of that Boston net.
And with Andy Moog, when the shots do get through, controlling his rebounds so beautifully, one of the classic Capital ways to score, gobbling up rebounds and getting second chances, have been literally just taken away. The Caps had one second chance the other night, and that was the John Druce goal.
Here's Hunter with it behind the goal, tries to center for Druce. Druce picks it up in the corner, throws it behind the net. Alan Peterson back to get it for Boston. He plays it up the boards for Poulin to the point. Stevens a shot. Hunter reaching for it, but can't get to it. Now Druce trying to center, and that bounces off Courtnall's stick and goes all the way up the corner glass. Now on the right wing, here's Dave Christian starting out. To Poulin at center ice. Left side. And Burridge drives it into the Washington zone. Now Druce in the corner. Flips it out to center, and Courtnall back to chase Gary Galley. Galley to Wesley, stolen by Druce at center. Back to Scott Stevens. Over to Bob Rouse. Flips to the blue line, and Burridge keeps it in. Here's Burridge for Boston, flipping it to the front of the net, and Bob Rouse takes it away. Back to the point. A drive by Galley missing, or rather by Wesley missing wide of the Capitals' goal. Scott Stevens, a pass too long for Druce. Wesley drives it right back in. Now Byers to the side of the net. Rouse chasing it and is able to hold off his man. Rouse throwing a check in front of the net. The shot goes wide. Byers behind the goal. Walking around to the side of the net, trying to center it. And Liut has covered the puck. Some pushing and shoving as Scott Stevens and Lyndon Byers talk it over. But Liut has covered the puck to stop play. Bruins lead the Caps 2-0 midway through the second period.
If you're searching for great oldies on the radio, the search ends here.
Extra 104, now with 10 great oldies in a row. Well, she was just 17.
Extra 104 is the only Washington radio station that gives you great oldies all the time. Great oldies from the 60s, back-to-back, non-stop. So, for your favorite oldies anytime, remember, set a button on your radio to 104.1 FM. Extra 104, great oldies all the time.
9:46 left to go in the second period. The Bruins still on top of the Capitals 2-0. Face-off now in the Capital end of things with Bob Sweeney to take this draw against Rob Murray.
Here's Kent Painter blasting it off the boards out to center ice. Al May holds off Gary Galley, and that allows Kyprios to get the puck. Ahead to May. Tries to feed it to Murray, but Galley steals and floats a pass out to Hawgood. Now it's dumped back inside the Washington zone. This is Kyprios back to get it. Nick Kyprios in the corner. Ahead for Rob Murray, back to the point. Kept in by Gary Galley. He walks in, fires, and a save by Liut. Swats it to the corner with a catching glove. Bumps it out to center ice. Wesley driving it right back in, up over the goal, and Sheehy is back to recover. Right side for Alan May. Out to center ice for Murray. To the blue line and Kyprios. Here comes Murray walking in. Can't get his shot off. And Bork starts the attack back to center. Taken away by Rouse. Rouse for Washington. Left side, Scott Stevens. Inside the Boston zone. This is Janney, left wing, up to Don Sweeney. Now to Cam Neely at the blue line, and Stevens works it away. And it's sent by Sweeney again back into Washington ice. Left side for Scott Stevens. Out to Kelly Miller. Work checked by Ridley. The puck cleared to center. Stevens throwing a big hit to knock Janney flying, and Janney lost his stick. Here's a shot by Neely. That rises up off the shoulder of Liut. Prop parked in front, waiting on a rebound attempt, but can't get the centering pass. And here comes Scott Stevens back for Washington with Ridley and Miller. Stevens fires, and Moog directs that to the corner. Caps start a line change. Miller in the corner. Held up on the play. Janney bumped by Leach. Puck lying in the corner, now played off the boards by Neely, and he sends it all the way back into the Washington zone. The Bruins have outshot the Capitals 14-9 so far in the game. Here is an icing call against the Boston Bruins, and Scott Stevens heads back to the Washington dressing room.
We'd like to welcome and thank our good friends of the Washington Post.
Well, let's see if we can get any kind of update on the injury to Bruin defenseman Bob Beers. Let's go down to Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks. Yeah, Bob Beers is very shortly going to be taking off to the hospital. There's an ambulance back here behind the backstage of the Capitol Center. It's his right leg. There's a possible fracture. There's maybe a knee problem. We'll try to get an update as Beers leaves the Capitol Center here in just the next few minutes. But the ambulance is here, and it looks like it's a possible fracture of the right leg. Back upstairs.
All right, Jeff, and when Mike mentioned Scott Stevens going off the ice again, under his own power, and apparently just to get some equipment repair. Stevens playing a dynamite game for the Washington Capitals, extremely physical, picking off plenty of passes, and in a strong contest, trying to get things going, looking to provide some leadership to get this team back in the hockey game. 7:50 left in period 2. Hunter out there for this face-off against Carpenter.
The draw comes back to Courtnall. His drive deflected wide into the corner, and John Carter allows Wesley to pick it up. He sends it out to center ice. Now Langway back at his own line. Rod Langway, left wing pass to Hunter. Down the middle to Courtnall, and he's held up on the play by Wesley. No penalty call on it. Back come the Bruins on the attack. John Carter across the blue line. Tries to give it to Bob Carpenter, but the Capitals come out. John Druce to center. Right wing pass, Courtnall. Walks in. Centers, and it's behind Druce. And again, the Bruins clear the zone. Wesley out to Galley at center ice. Dumps it in. 7:10 left to play in the second period. Langway up the boards for Hunter. Hunter directing it across the line, back into the Boston zone. Dave Christian off the boards to the point. Pavanka keeps it in. Looks for Berglund. Now it bounces out of the zone, and Christian brings it out to center ice. He dumps it back into the Washington zone, and Liut puts it behind the net for Rouse. Over to Berglund. Tim Berglund checked on the play. The puck centered right in front of the net. Burridge trying to back pass it over, but it's deflected out to center, and Bork takes it there. Christian inside the Washington zone to Dave Poulin, the former Flyer. And he's run hard by Rouse. From the right wing comes Berglund. Tim Berglund to center ice. Throws it across the line. Steve Malte to the corner. Played on the boards by Don Sweeney and back to center. Burridge has it taken away by Rob Murray. Right side pass, too far for Malte. In behind the net, Malte tries to work it loose. In front, a shot by Murray, blocked. Christian fights for the puck. Finally, Rob Murray turns and fires, and that's blocked. And cleared to the blue line, but not out. Johansson a drive. He misses wide. Al May is causing some traffic in front of that Boston net, but the Caps haven't been able to get the puck to him. Now Johansson to Murray, to May across the line. Bork trips him up. Here's Don Sweeney. Hooked in the corner by Murray, and nothing called. Back to the corner. Alan May tries to dig it away from Ray Bork. Finally, Murray comes up with it. Rob Murray has had a good game tonight. Here's Murray over to Kyprios. Back to Murray behind the net. Played off the boards, and Johansson tries to keep it in. He does, but then Sweeney takes it back. Don Sweeney out to Burridge, and it's lofted all the way back inside the Washington zone. A 2-goal lead isn't much, but when the Capitals buzz like that and can't penetrate the Bruins, it seems insurmountable right now.
Never got a shot on goal. Chances, pucks flowing through that crease, and nothing on Andy Moog.
Here's Neil Sheehy in the corner. The crowd comes alive. Up to Ridley at center ice. Mike Ridley back into the corner for Nick Kyprios. Behind the net to Steve Leach. Now Prop to Ridley. Back to the point again for Rouse. Throws it behind the net. In front, a backhand shot. Nick Kyprios gets the Caps on the board at 2-1.
Well, finally, some good work behind the net and in the corners pay off. Stephen Leach throwing it out in front, and Kyprios just backhands it right past Andy Moog. And Mike, this is such an interesting situation that Kyprios is even on the ice at that point. Steve Maltes was late getting off on an earlier line change. He played about 3/4 of the shift with that Capital fourth line where Kyprios normally would be. Once Maltes got off, Kyprios came on, and the rest of his line mates went back off the ice. Kyprios stayed on, and Kelly Miller could never get on with Stephen Leach and with Mike Ridley, his normal line mate. So Kyprios, by all rights and purposes, should have been off the ice, but because Maltes was on late, Kyprios stayed on late, and it pays off for the Capitals as he gets the goal to get the Capitals finally on this board, and an even strength goal, something the Caps have just not seen lately, gives the Capitals and this crowd some life.
First goal of the playoffs for Nick Kyprios. Steve Leach and Mike Ridley assisting at 15:32. And the Capitals hope that will be the goal that will turn this game around. The crowd is alive here at the Capitol Center.
Nobody gives you more this May than Home Team Sports. The Orioles are in action 10 times, an exclusive HTS telecast. Hit high in the air to left field and deep to the wall. It's gone. Nobody gives you more of the great plays than Home Team Sports. Nobody gives you more of the Capitals this May as they skate their way through the Stanley Cup playoffs. You'll see every Caps home game live and exclusively on the channel you cheer for. Hockey fans are treated to the hard-hitting Wales Division Finals, the Camel and Wales Conference Finals.
The crowd here at the Capitol Center sold out. 18,130 people. Still buzzing. Nick Kiprios' goal has put a lot of life back into this building. What the Capitals have to do is make sure the next goal is theirs. You remember the other night when John Drew scored to give the Capitals a shot in the arm? Craig Janney came back just a couple of moments later.
A blast by Galley from the point. Liut makes the save. Over to Druce now in the corner. And Druce topples to the ice, trying to clear it out. Hunter back to tie up on the play. Now it's taken over by Bob Rouse. Up the right wing. Here's Druce. Hits Courtnall with a pass. Courtnall walking in. A wrist shot. Kick save by Andy Moe. Druce chasing to the corner. Courtnall pokes it free. Wesley's back after it. Bruce ties him up. Hunter centers. It gets outside the line, and Johansson has to chase it back to center ice. Calle Johansson flipping it ahead for Courtnall. And Galley turns it around back into the Washington zone. Rouse is in to take it. Out to Johansson. Crowd chanting, "Let's go Caps." 2-1 score. 3:05 to play, second period. Bruins cleared all the way down. Johansson back to take it. Still no sign of Scott Stevens, who left the ice. And we are told now that he might be receiving some medical attention for a cut to his forehead. This puck shot into the crowd out of play, and there'll be a face-off with 2:51 to go in the second period. Now here's Jeff Rimmer.
Mike, you're absolutely right. Some stitch work being done to Scott Stevens. He should be back shortly. And as far as the Boston Bruins are concerned, certainly a lot of concern with Bob Beers being now taken away from the Capitol Center. It appears to be a very serious injury. And as we reported a few minutes ago, the doctors suspect that there's a fracture above the right knee. So Bob Beers likely not to return this season to the Boston Bruins. Back upstairs now to Mike and Al.
Any kind of a fracture above the knee, I would think, might even keep him out of next season. It's a broken femur. And that's an awful lot of mass to have a cracked bone.
Yeah. Plenty of it has to take a lot of recovery time.
Certainly sorry to hear that. A tough break for Bob Beers of the Boston Bruins.
One of the pluses the Bruins have, though, is we talk about they've got Greg Hallgood dressed as a forward. Hallgood started his career as a defenseman, was a high-scoring defenseman for Kamloops of the Western Canadian Hockey League, the junior hockey league out in the West, and certainly started as a Boston Bruin as a defenseman. But he's a small player at about 5 feet 8 inches tall, very quick, very fast, a good shot, so they're trying to mostly at forward, but he can swing back there to help out if there are any further injuries or problems, or just to give somebody a little bit of a break on the Boston blue line.
2 minutes and 48 seconds left to go here in the second period. It is a 2-1 game on the goal by Nick Kiprios, scoring for Washington. It's been the only scoring play of this period. The Bruins' goals from Neely and Carter came back in period 1. Ray Bourque, back of his own net, hit by Pavanka on the play, and now Poulin turns to start out and leads it ahead to center ice. Burridge to the red line. Checked by Berglund on the play. The puck goes in behind the goal. Leads it up the left wing boards. Steve Malte out to center. Right side for Berglund. Gets across the blue line. Berglund winds, fires, and it's just wide of the net. Now chased by Pavanka into the corner. Throws it behind the goal. Don Sweeney over after it. Out to Burridge. He clears it. Malte in there to throw a hit behind the play. This will be icing as Painter goes back for it. And again, the face-off reverts to the Boston zone. Down to 2 minutes and 1 second left in the second period.
Well, there's no doubt the Capitals' pressure in their hitting game certainly seems to be taking a bit of a toll. The Bruins now rushing the passes just a little bit. Whether it's too late remains to be seen, but no doubt that is something the Capitals have got to continue getting in there, working the corners and the boards behind the net was what set up their first goal. The Kiprio score set up very nicely by Stephen Leach. With the Capitals continuing to hit anything that moves, we'll see if they can come up with that goal to give them a tie in this game with another forecheck-related turnover.
Bruins control the draw. Cleared to the point. Ridley keeps it in. Now Leach reaching for it, but Carpenter spins it back out to center ice. Ridley out to chase the puck for Washington. Turns it back into the Boston corner. Lowe loops it over to Galley. And ahead to center. Taken there by Johansson. Right side for Rouse. Ahead to Miller. Kelly Miller across the blue line. Recovered by Galley, and he bounces it back to center. Carpenter picks it up on the left wing. Leach bumps him off the puck. And here's Johansson back in his own zone. Out to Ridley. Pulled down on the play. A battle right in front of the penalty box is going on between Leach and Bob Sweeney. Here's Mike Ridley out to center. Left side, Calle Johansson. Right wing pass got away from Miller, and it's back to center ice. And Sheehy tries to keep it there as the Bruins surge forward. We're into the final minute of play in the period. Here is Sheehy. Off the glass out to center. Across two lines now, passing ahead to John Druce. And a face-off coming with 54 seconds to go in period 2.
Remember, after tonight's hockey game, the Orioles are out on the West Coast, and they take on the California Angels, and we'll have that game for you following Game 4 of the Wales Conference Finals between the Caps and the Bruins. After that opportunity, Calle Johansson coming into the zone and tried to give the puck to Kelly Miller. One of the things Miller's normally used to having other people handle the puck in that situation, and he just drives to the net. And I think that's what Kelly Miller was looking for, not anticipating a pass from Calle Johansson.
Here's Rod Langway to chase it back inside his own zone. Caps would like to get another one here to equal the score before heading to the dressing room. But a very big goal scored by this man, Nick Kiprios, to put Washington on the scoreboard in this game.
And he's earned a little extra time in a big primetime spot. He's out there in the spot normally occupied by Jeff Courtnall on the line with Dale Hunter and John Druce. Nick Kiprios now is the man playing left wing on this unit.
Rod Langway has a goal and 4 assists for 5 points in postseason. That goal that he scored, one that neither he nor any Washington Capital fan will ever forget, to beat the New York Rangers in sudden death overtime.
Arguably, along with the Dale Hunter overtime goal against Philadelphia, which probably ranks up there as the biggest in Capitals history. As you mentioned, the 1 goal, 4 assists in the playoffs. No goals, 8 assists in 58 regular season games. So the Caps getting an offensive contribution from an unlikely source in Rod Langway.
Here's Bork to center. Time running out in the period. Bork inside the line. Throws it wide into the corner. Poulin centers for Burridge, but he fans on his shot. Rouse held him up. And now Langway leads it to center ice for Courtnall. Here's Courtnall to the blue line. Poke check back to center. And Langway holds the puck at the center line as the horn sounds to signal the end of tonight's second period. The Bruins 2 and the Capitals 1. Nick Kiprios with the only goal of the second period. Shots on goal in period 2 for Boston, 6. A 2-period total of 15. And Washington with 6. A 2-period total of 11. More live exclusive Stanley Cup playoff action coming your way after these messages here on Home Team Sports.